Everybody get up.
It's time for the RMAC Radio Show.
There's nothing I like better than a nice, ice-cold Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference.
The RMAC is a proud member of NCAA Division II.
Colorado School of Mines. There you go. That's legit. They can ball. The Colorado School of Mines can ball.
Now, here's your host, Eric Danner.
It's all good. Respect.
Welcome to the RMAC Radio Show, our first show of the 2013-14 season. My name is Eric Danner, back with you, I believe, for an 11th year doing the RMAC Radio Show, and a lot of changes here in the RMAC office since the last time we signed off in March. We'll get to those as we go along in the show. To start off with, first week of RMAC football. Actually, all our fall sports are going to be kicking into high gear here in week number one. We're going to start off with football in just a minute or so. Here we're going to talk to Jazz Baines, the head football coach at Western State Colorado University. The Mountaineers with a huge game to start off the season. Then we're going to talk with Chrissy Elder, the new head volleyball coach at UCCS, as the Mountain Lions also kick off their season with some big games. And we'll close things out with the now former commissioner, J.R. Smith of the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference. He's now at Chadron State College, and we'll talk a little bit about that change here in the RMAC office and what brought J.R. to Chadron, Nebraska. A guy who knows a lot about Chadron, Nebraska is now on the line with us, the head coach of Western State Colorado University. His name is Jazz Baines. Coach Baines, how's it going today?
It's going great, Eric. How are you?
I'm doing great, Coach. Hey, I mentioned Chadron because that's where you were an assistant for 5 years, now already in your third year as head coach at Western State Colorado University. Big week for you, Coach. Boy, you didn't shy away in this scheduling matchup in week number one. You take on West Texas A&M, a team that went to the Final Four of the NCAA football playoffs last year. Tell me what the offseason's been like for you in preparation for this game against West Texas.
Well, we've had a lot of guys, Eric, stay up over the summer. We had a lot of guys working out, a lot of upperclassmen. We had a couple of our new incoming players that came up early as well. So guys lifted and ran and did our summer workouts and did a great job of their commitment level and making sure everybody was here. So I think that put us a little bit ahead, probably heading into our fall camp here in August. And we've made a lot of strides going through fall camp, and obviously we got a top-notch opponent in West Texas A&M with all they've done, not only just last year, just over the last almost decade now. So they're a very good program, and we're excited for the opportunity. We're at home in front of our crowd here in Gunnison at Western, and so we're looking forward to it.
Talking with Jazz Baines, head football coach at Western State Colorado University. Coach, it wasn't that long ago when we remember here in the RMAC, almost no games at home those first 2 weeks of the season. You could write those off. We had to travel to wherever, a lot of Division I AA type of games in those first 2 weeks. How did you manage to schedule West Texas A&M and have them come up to Gunnison in week number one?
Well, Eric, we actually, we have them for 3 years, so obviously playing them in 2012 now, at their place, and now they're coming to Gunnison, and then we follow suit and, go there next year. So, it just kind of worked out. They were looking for a game. We were looking for a game, and the dates happened to match, and, we got a great opportunity against a good opponent. So, it worked out for all of us.
Talking with Jazz Baines, and Coach, I know there's a lot of optimism this time of year with all our teams, and we had a chance to see it at RMAC Football Media Day a few weeks ago, and you had a couple players come in as well. And I was telling somebody, well, we meant for the players not to wear their shoulder pads underneath their shirts, but your nose tackle, Lane Stu, boy, he's quite a load there. And Jaden Terry, both hallmarks of what could be a very good defense this year.
Absolutely. It all starts up front with Lane, and, Lane's been a two-time all-conference performer already as he heads into his senior year. And he's gotten better and better each year. And, these guys are hungry, and they've put in the time, and, their commitment level has continued to increase each and every year that they've been part of the program. And I think guys are ready to turn the corner. I think we've put ourselves in a position as coaches and players to really make some strides this season. We finally feel, like I said during the media days, we finally feel like we have some upperclassmen now, that have gone through the program and know what it takes to get on the winning track. So, talking
Jazz Baines, I know some excitement on campus this past week, not just with classes starting up. But, Coach, you got a new logo, and nothing against your old logo, but wasn't a real big fan personally. But this new one, this is pretty cool, kind of reminiscent of maybe the Patriots logo, I would say.
Yeah, our campus is extremely excited. Our players were excited when they saw it as well, and the community's got around it. And I know, we've transitioned, for the last 3 years now from the scripted W to the last Mountaineer, and now we have a new logo, and I think this one's going to stick. So we're pretty excited to finally have something that's going to stay.
Talking with Jazz Baines, and part of Western State, what you bring to the table, and when you're recruiting players, maybe more so or as much as anybody in the conference, is the tradition at Western State. Been a member of the RMAC since the 1920s. I believe have more RMAC football championships than any other school in the conference. Obviously had a lot of success in the 80s on into the 90s, but not as much so in the 2000s. Is part of this, rebranding, this whole package you're doing, is that part to bring back maybe some of those, guys from championship teams and get them kind of more excited about Western State football this year?
Absolutely, Eric. We got a strong alumni here, not only in the state, but all over the place when it comes to Western football and the history behind it, obviously winning 19 conference championships. We get a lot of support. We get guys coming through here pretty regularly, and, I got a lot of phone calls from former alums that played here, always wishing us good luck in those things. And obviously they want to see their alma mater get it turned around, and so we're excited, and, we're excited to get them back as well. I wouldn't say that they've really ever left, but, with the new branding stuff, they're getting a lot of information about that. And, with the events coming up this year, they're pretty excited for us. So
Western State plays at home this weekend against West Texas A&M. That's going to be a 1 p.m. kickoff from the Mountaineer Bowl. Coach, let's get into the game here. I know West Texas, as we mentioned, top 4 team in the nation last year. They've had some challenges in the preseason here, undergone a coaching change already, but obviously you're going to be in store for one of the top teams in the nation. Dustin Vaughn, Harlan Hill finalist, their starting quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, they're loaded. They got a lot of upperclassmen. They're pretty senior and junior heavy. They return a lot of guys, and so that's why you see them ranked top 3 in the country with their, Final Four finish last year. I know they got a coaching change going on, but, obviously the players are the ones that step across the lines, and, I know they'll be ready to go, and so will our guys. So I know our guys are looking forward to the opportunity, and, we have them here at home, and we're excited to play at a high level of football this weekend.
Talking to Jazz Baines, and Coach, obviously your expertise has been on the defensive side of the ball, and you got a pretty good defense coming back. What can we look for offensively from Western State this year?
Well, I think we got a lot better group of guys in. We got mature players, that physically are ready to go, and we have a lot more explosive players, on the offensive side of the ball. And I think you can see us, be very similar as far as our style of play, but, we're going to spread it out a little bit more, and we're going to put the ball in the hands of our guys that can run, our playmakers. And so we're going to be getting, the ball to the receivers as much as possible with a few new additions. And like I said, we have a few guys that now have a couple years of experience under their belt that only continue to get better. So we're pretty excited.
Like once again, Western State taking on West Texas, 1 o'clock at the Mountaineer Bowl. Coach, this has to be the most exciting opening. Obviously, you've only been there 3 years, but the most exciting opening game for Western State in quite some time. What's the buzz around Gunnison this week?
Well, I think everybody's ready for the game. Obviously our players are tired of being in camp and have been looking forward to week 1 for quite some time. And so, now they're really starting to dial in and get going. And, our community, obviously all the way around Mountaineer Athletics, they're excited. We're at home. It's been a couple years since we've been at home. Obviously, you got a top-ranked opponent coming in as well. So everybody's excited for this game being our opening game and at home here in Gunnison.
Jazz Baines, the head coach. And, Coach, did you have a chance to check out Fresno State the other night, that overtime win over Rutgers?
I did see that game. They played a heck of a game.
Well, hopefully that'll rub off on the Mountaineers. I know it's being called the year of the Mountaineer there in Gunnison. Good luck to you this weekend, Coach.
Appreciate it, Eric.
All right, that is Jazz Baines, head football coach at Western State Colorado University. probably the highlighted game if you were to look through and highlight one game, obviously taking on a top-ranked opponent, West Texas A&M. RMAC football kicks off Thursday night. We got Black Hills State traveling to Angelo State. Angelo's going to play a couple RMAC teams again during the non-conference part of the schedule, I should say. Chadron State also plays on a Thursday night. They travel to Missouri S&T. That's a 6:30 kickoff. Friday night, Adams State will be hosting Wayland Baptist at Rex Field, so that's an exciting opening game for the Grizzlies. Colorado Mesa will host Menlo College at 1 p.m. on Saturday. Western State hosting West Texas. Colorado Mines will be hosting South Dakota Mines. That's at noon in Golden, so the Ore Diggers kicking things off at home as well. And CSU-Pueblo, that looks to be a big one too. They travel to northern Colorado. Now, if you remember back several years ago when Danny Woodhead was a senior, they went to northern Colorado and thumped the Bears then. Of course, UNC much better now. CSU-Pueblo, that should be a very good test for those two teams. That's a 1:35 kickoff in Greeley. New Mexico Highlands will travel to eastern New Mexico. That's a big game for us in the RMAC as they play a Lone Star opponent. Fort Lewis, John L. Smith starts his career with the Skyhawks at Southern Utah. Yeah, 1AA, one Division I FCS opponent there. Western New Mexico also playing a Division I FCS team at the University of San Diego in what's gotten to be an annual contest for the Mustangs. That's a 7 p.m. kickoff in San Diego. So plenty of RMAC football going on. Some other RMAC football notes for you. We had 9 players in camp with NFL teams this year. We don't have a stat for that necessarily to see if that's a record, but definitely one of the best years in terms of getting guys into NFL camps this past off season. Unfortunately, I think 7 of them wound up getting cut. Danny Woodhead, of course, now at the San Diego Chargers. He will be on the team. And Garrett Gilkey, who got drafted in the 7th round, we had him on the RMAC radio show last year, starting at guard for the Cleveland Browns. So congratulations to those two guys. We had a chance to catch up with Tim Jenkins from Fort Lewis College. He spent training camp with the St. Louis Rams. They played a game in Denver, and we had a chance to interview Tim after the game. Here's what he had to say.
They had told me that they'll try to get me in for a series or two, just being back home in Denver. So it was everything you ever could have thought of. I used to sit back up in section 500, so getting out there on the field, a little different view, but it was amazing. It was a great opportunity too.
So Tim Jenkins had a decent outing, got in the fourth quarter against the Broncos with the game on the line. Definitely a dream come true for him. Unfortunately, the next day he was released by the Rams and as of yet has not been picked up by a team, but it definitely showed he could compete at that NFL level as we did with 9 other players. That's truly an amazing fact with the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference this year. Still ahead, we're going to talk some RMAC volleyball with the new head coach at UCCS, Chrissy Elder. You're listening to the RMAC Radio Show.